Hi, this is Blake.
Hi, this is Cameron. We welcome you to yet another episode of Trust Talks. Okay, so ever wish there was a way to, not just catch fraud, but actually stop it before it even happens?
Well, that's where we're diving into today.
Today's deep dive is all about building a framework for exactly that.
That's right.
A segregation of duties matrix.
Which sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Luckily, we've got this great article to unpack it all, Developing a Strategic Segregation of Duties Matrix.
A really solid breakdown.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty,
Sure.
Can we just define segregation of duties, or OD as I've seen it called?
So imagine it like this. It's basically making sure that no one person in your company has control over all the steps of a critical financial process.
Like you don't want all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Solid OD is about dividing those responsibilities, creating a system of checks and balances.
Okay, and that's where this matrix comes in. This article breaks it down to 5 main points.
Right, you got it.
What a SOD matrix is, how it's structured, how to put one into practice.
And how to use one, yeah.
The benefits, and then some real-life examples.
All really important stuff.
Yeah.
And it starts by hitting that why right at the beginning.
Why even bother, right?
Exactly. And it's not about assuming everyone's dishonest.
Right.
It's about putting safeguards in place, minimizing risk, maximizing accountability. So even if, an honest mistake happens.
Which, let's face it, they do.
They happen all the time. You've got that safety net built in. And of course, it helps deter fraud too. When people know their actions are being monitored as part of a larger system,
they're less likely to try anything shady.
Exactly. It's that culture of compliance,
And that peace of mind for everyone involved, knowing things are buttoned up. Okay, but let's get into some specifics.
Sure.
The article gives an example about a finance manager and an accounts payable clerk, right?
Right, and it highlights a really common issue. So both of these roles had access to the same tasks in the system.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Verifying invoices, A&D entering them.
So even without any bad intentions, that overlap is a problem.
Huge problem. It's a recipe for errors.
Yeah.
Even if it's unintentional. And, we don't want to assume the worst in people, but we do want to build a system that's resilient to human error, temptation, all of that. It's about that peace of mind.
So it sounds like we need a solid game plan.
Exactly.
Does this article give us a blueprint for actually building this OD matrix thing?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it lays out a really clear roadmap.
Okay.
And the first step is really about taking stock.
Okay.
Identifying your company's most critical assets, the processes that really make things tick.
So figure out what needs protecting.
Exactly. Like if you were a general defending a castle, you'd want to reinforce the most vulnerable points, right?
Makes sense.
So you got to know where those weak spots are.
Gotcha. So once we've mapped out the terrain, then what? We start defining those roles and responsibilities, right?
You got it.
Making sure it's crystal clear who's in charge of what.
Exactly. And this is where that laser focus on those roles comes in.
Okay.
Vague job descriptions, that's like a breeding ground for overlap and confusion.
Right, which defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly. So you need that clarity, that precision in each role's access within the system, what they can see, what they can change, what they could approve.
No room for interpretation.
None whatsoever. Think of it like a well-oiled machine.
Okay.
Every cog has its place, its function.
Right.
And they all work together seamlessly.
Okay, I like it. But what about all those pesky regulations out there? Things change all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
How do we make sure our system's staying up to date?
Right, and the article really hammers home that point about staying ahead of the curve because those rules of the game, they're constantly evolving, right? So it's not a one and done kind of deal.
It's like updating your phone's operating system, right?
Exactly. You got to download those security patches, those new features to keep things running smoothly, to stay protected.
So we've designed our matrix. We've clearly defined those roles. We're committed to staying current. Are there any common traps we should be aware of?
Yeah.
Mistakes that companies make when putting this SOD thing into practice?
Yeah, it's easy to fall into bad habits.
Right.
And one of the biggest ones I see is this over-reliance on manual processes.
Oh, interesting.
In today's world, where automation's king, sticking with those old school methods, it's like trying to guard a bank vault with a wooden door.
You're making it way too easy for something to go wrong.
Exactly. And even with the best intentions, manual processes, they just leave so much room for human error.
They always say to err is human, to automate, divine.
Right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Automation, it's not just about efficiency. It's about accuracy. It's about minimizing those risks.
So it's like having this like tireless guardian constantly watching over those systems,
Exactly.
making sure everything's running as it should.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, talked about the what, the why, the how of this whole SOD thing. We've been deep in the weeds.
Now let's shift gears a little bit here, because someone listening might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what's in it for me?
Right. They want to see the bottom line.
Exactly. So let's talk benefits, tangible results. What does a strong SD framework actually deliver? What are the payoffs, the big wins?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
You're facing an audit.
Ah.
But instead of that sinking feeling, you've got this beautifully crafted SCD framework in place.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
It's not just about checking boxes for compliance. It's about having that bedrock of confidence.
Right.
It shows you take this seriously, you're committed to doing things the right way.
That's huge.
It's about protecting your company's reputation, showing you've got nothing to hide.
And that's got to be good for business.
Absolutely. And it goes even deeper than just audits. Because when you've got this strong S2D framework, you're dramatically reducing the risk of those costly errors, those potential fraudulent activities.
So you're safeguarding your bottom line.
Exactly. It's about protecting the financial health of your company now and in the future.
Like they say, prevention is the best medicine.
Couldn't agree more. And beyond the dollars and cents, it really fosters this culture of accountability, transparency.
Yeah, everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. When everyone understands the importance of their role in safeguarding the company's financial well-being, it builds trust. It builds a sense of shared responsibility.
So it's more than just a set of rules, it's a mindset.
Precisely. It's about weaving that security into the very DNA of your company, protecting not just its assets, but its reputation, its people, everything.
So if someone listening wants to start building that kind of security, that kind of culture, where do they begin?
It starts with a little introspection. Take a look inward. Identify those areas where conflicts of interest might crop up.
Okay, so like pinpoint those vulnerabilities before they become a problem.
Exactly. Be proactive, not reactive. Think about things like procurement, expense approvals, access to sensitive data.
All those crucial areas.
Exactly. It's about taking that first step towards a more secure, more trustworthy future for your company.
Building that fortress from the ground up.
And at the end of the day, a company's integrity is its most valuable asset.
Couldn't agree more.
And a robust SO framework. That's the cornerstone of that integrity. It's an investment that pays dividends in trust, in stability, long-term success, all of it.
Amazing. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for this deep dive into the fascinating world of the SODO matrix.
It's been a pleasure.
As always, thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Happy to do it.
And listeners, until next time, keep diving deep.